Oh boy, I didn't totally, completely blow chunks with my picks last week. I just sucked. 9 and 6 picking winners. Woohoo! Almost got the double digits. Yeehaw! Thanks, Steelers, for not showing up at all. Thanks, Broncos, for pissing away a fourth quarter lead down to your legs. And, of course, that's what I get for showing just a teensy-weensy, itsy-bitsy bit of faith in the Cleveland Browns. That's what I get. 7 and 8 against the spread. So for the season, I'm 29 and 34 in both categories. Ouchies, ouchies. The march to 500 is on, bitches. Now I get why the guys on TV, the guys on radio and podcasts don't pick every single game. They might pick a couple of them, or they do a survivor pool or something. Because it minimizes the chances of collateral damage. It minimizes the chances to look like a complete and total moron. But of course, I'm not smart enough to figure that out. So there you go. I'm still picking all the games. We're going to write this shit, damn it. Double digits this week. Double digits! That's what's going to happen. Kicking off with the Thursday night game. The Colts and Andrew Luck traveling to New England to take on Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the Patriots. It's Revenge Gate for a Deflate Gate. Is it? Maybe. It's kind of interesting, the subplot here of Josh McDaniels was supposed to go to Indy and then he ultimately didn't. New England's favored by 10. I totally get that, especially with the way they steamrolled the Dolphins on Sunday. Look like they're riding the ship at just the right time, especially as we get out of September, where the Patriots in recent years have had some struggles, and we get into October where they're really, really good. So I definitely think the Patriots will win this game, although when you get to these Thursday night games, even though the Colts won't have T.Y. Hilton, even though they don't really have much of a semblance of a running game, these things could be an absolute crapshoot. And I will say that the Colts have been really competitive and close in all 4 games they've played so far this year, and 10 points to me is still a lot. So give me the Patriots to win and give me the Colts to cover the 10. Let's move on to the Sunday games. Tennessee travels to Buffalo as 3-point favorites. All right, if I'm wrong, but I don't care. Tennessee minus the 3 all day long. The Dolphins, coming off their first loss to the Patriots, travel to Cincinnati, take on the 3-1 Bengals. 2 3-1 teams facing off. 7 points seems like a lot. I don't care. I'm taking the Bengals minus the 7. The Ravens at 3-1 travel to Cleveland to take on Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Baltimore is going to be looking to burn them. Burn them! Ravens favored by 3, even though it's a road game. And the Browns have been competitive and close in all their games this year. I'll take the Ravens minus the 3. The Packers at 2-1-1 travel to Detroit to take on the 1-3 Lions. I'm surprised the Lions are favored by half a point here. Yeah, give me Green Bay plus the half point. I'm sorry, I got to roll with them. Jacksonville and the Jaguars defense goes into Kansas City to take on Show Me Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs high-powered offense. This feels like a game that could go either way. Feels like a game where the Jaguars defense could step up to the challenge of Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, and Mahomes could struggle a little bit. But the Chiefs offense is so good when they need to be right now, and they can put up points in abundance. And if they're able to get some points on the board early against the Jaguars offense I don't feel can match up with them, even though the Chiefs defense is terrible. Give me Kansas City minus the 3. The Broncos travel across the country to take on Sam Darnold and the New York Jets. The Jets are favored by half a point. I get that. Coming off of a short week, the Broncos got to travel almost 3,000 miles across the country. Not the ideal thing to do. That said, still give me the Broncos plus a half point. Atlanta travels to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers in a game matchup of 2 teams that desperately, so badly need this win. You will really wonder if the Falcons lose their 1-4, how can you consider them a serious contender anymore, if you even do now? And the Steelers, if they lose this game and they go to 1-3-1, what reason do you have to believe that this team could turn it around and pull it together? Their offense isn't as good and their defense stinks. And Tomlin doesn't have them disciplined and doesn't have them to play cheat. Imagine that. Pittsburgh's favored by 3. This could be a lot of fun on Sunday, though. It should be a shootout. Let's hope. Where Matt Ryan's putting up a bunch of yards and a bunch of points. Big Ben in that offense putting up a bunch of yards and a bunch of points. I go with the home team. Give me the Steelers minus the 3. The Giants travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Panthers are 7.5-point favorites. I just don't really like the Giants at all. I feel like they're going to rue the day that they didn't take a quarterback at number 2. Give me the Panthers minus the 7.5. Moving to the afternoon, late afternoon slate of games. Chargers are favored by 5, hosting the Oakland Raiders. I like the Chargers to win, but the Raiders have been competitive in every game this year for certain stretches of time. They're coming off of their first win last week. Travel isn't that big of a deal, so I think they can cover the spread. So give me the Chargers to win, but the Raiders plus the 5. Vikings travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, 2 teams that a lot of people are looking at potentially being the top 2 seeds in the NFC. The Eagles are at 2-2. The Vikings are 1-2-1. Team that loses this game is going to be in a really, really bad way. It feels like the Vikings need this game more than the Eagles. It feels like the Eagles can lose this game and still potentially be okay in the NFC East, whereas the Vikings, if they go to 1-3-1, the Bears are at 3-1 in first place. If the Packers win, they're 3-1-1. That's not a good place for the Vikings to be at all. I think that desperation is going to come through for them, especially coming off of a long week of preparation. I know the Eagles are favored by 3, but give me the Vikings in an upset to win plus the 3. Arizona travels to San Francisco to take on the Jimmy G-less 49ers at the House of Jeans. The 49ers are favored by 4.5, and granted, they responded pretty nicely on Sunday against the Chargers. They really stuck a game to them and had a chance to win it. Ultimately came up short. The Cardinals looked a little bit better on Sunday against the Seahawks, but they're 0-4. They're the lone, sole, winless team left in the league. Arizona's 4.5-point underdogs. They're starting the rookie. They're on the road. I still like the Cardinals to win this game and be the last team to get a win, and I think it happens this week. Give me the Cardinals plus the 4.5. You got the Rams traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Rams in recent years have had the Seahawks number. That Rams offense is incredible. The Seahawks defense is not as good. Give me the Rams minus the 7. The Sunday night game, it's a battle of Texas. Oh boy, the Lone Star State showdown indeed. The Cowboys at 2-2 traveling to Houston to take on the 1-3 Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by 3. This is a big marquee spotlight for Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. And then on the Texans side for J.J. Watt, Merciless and Clowney, and especially Deshaun Watson. The Texans should have a little bit of a confidence coming off of that last-second victory in overtime over the Colts last week. Give me the Texans minus the 3. And then Monday night, danger, danger for the Saints. Even though they're at home, they got the Redskins coming in. The Redskins can run the ball. Their defensive front is better than given credit for. They're a good defense, and statistically that's bearing out. And they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this matchup. This is a tough spot for the Saints to be in, even at home. And that 7-point spread feels like a really, really big spread. Yeah, the Saints are 3-1, but you know when you look at it, they barely beat the Falcons, who don't look to be that good. And yeah, they beat the Giants, but what the hell does that really mean? I think the Saints are still the better team. The Saints will win, but I fully expect Washington to be able to cover that 7-point spread. So those are my picks for this week. Not that it matters, other than the fact we're going to get to 10 wins, damn it, this week. The march to 500 record is on! And still, most all of you are probably kicking my ass. What are you going to do?